Shadow here, repping 52 VTK Combat Concepts. And today we got a little bit of warrior wisdom. So what I want to talk about today is, what does it mean to be faithful to 52? Right? What does that mean? What does that look like? Because I've met some brothers who consider themselves to be 52 purists. Right? But what does that mean to be a 52 purist? Does it mean you remain true to the physical technique, or does it mean that you stay true to the spirit of the system, right? The intended purpose of the system, which is about adaptation, evolution. 52 blocks, right, is more than just the physical techniques, man, right? Again, I said this in a previous video, that when you allow yourself to be confined in a box of technique, you become a victim to dogma, right? That means there's no room for growth, no room for personal expression, no room for you to make the art your own. And that's not a good thing. 52 blocks, right? Back in the day, that was a big thing with the Nation of Gods and Earths. Nation of Gods and Earths, about building, right? Building and destroying. We want to build on the positive, destroy the negative. Build on what's useful, destroy what's not useful. Pretty much like Bruce Lee said, right? You adapt the things, absorb the things that are useful, disregard everything else. Now, let's look at 52 blocks, man, right? Whatever history you want to look at, right? Because I've heard the Back to Africa theory, I've heard, different things. I agree. System came out of Africa. It evolved over here on the slave plantations. When, Reformation happened and Jim Crow and all that stuff happened, they started putting people, black folks, in prison. These guys were these best fighters on the plantation, but now they're fighting in the prison systems. They fight each other. They get cool with each other. They start trading notes, exchanging techniques. The system adapted. It evolved. It grew. It built. Right? And the things they felt were no longer applicable, they tossed to the side. They destroyed it. Inside the prison system, the system that eventually became known as 52 blocks evolved, right? The slave plantation systems, guys came in, dudes in different facilities, right? You had Stato, which was the way the dudes in the state fought. Punch you in your collarbone, use the elbows, all that stuff like that. That morphed into different subsystems: Comstock Shuffle, Woodburn Shuffle, Auburn Shuffle, Four Corners, right? All of this stuff, different systems, right? These systems eventually became 52 blocks. How did that happen? Because guys moving from one facility to the next are learning these systems from other people. And eventually, according to how Minister gave me the history, you had a group of these dudes were down in HDM. This was back before there was a C-74, and they used to put the adolescents in HDM. And they got together and they start exchanging notes, right? One guy was good with the Woodburn Shuffle. This guy's good with the Auburn Shuffle. They made it all into one system. That system was Jailhouse Rock, right? It didn't become 52 blocks until it got out into the street. That's the street name, right? Now, what does this have to do with anything? The fact that those early pioneers of the system were willing to work together and learn from each other, to adapt, right? Incorporate new stuff into their game, step their game up. Because again, as I've said in the past, right, the era that we're talking about was the fight or fuck era, right? That's just real talk right there, man, right? It was the fight or fuck era. If you couldn't fight, you was fucking, right? That's just what it was. And a lot of the dudes that was putting you in that position could fight really well. These guys was boxers. You had a lot of professional boxers in the prison system, right? So from the 50s, early 60s, this was the Stato era. Transitioning, mid-60s, we transitioned into the Jailhouse Rock era on up through the 70s, right? Now, according to this history, according to Minister, again, right? You had dudes in HDM, Each of them knew a different system. You had Karate Rob / Karate Bob. This guy was, it appears he had been a Kali dude, right? Boom. These guys put their heads together, came up with this thing. Because if the dudes on the yard, the big dog on the yard is the boxer, you want to be able to beat the boxer. You got to give yourself an edge against the boxer, right? You had to evolve beyond boxing, right? So what did that mean? It meant that you had to be able to attack the boxer from angles that he wasn't sure how to defend against. You had to be able to mount a defense that the boxer was unsure how to attack, right? What do I mean? What I mean is this. We know boxing, right? Most of us, we're aware, right? In boxing, right? Dude shoot that straight right at you. You either gonna get up under it, right? Or you're gonna slip it, right? Those are your options, right? Boom, you get away from it, under it, you slip it, right? Or you can block, you can pick it. But these are the things that were conventional. These were the things boxers knew, right? All right, cool. If I shoot this punch and it don't make contact, I mean, he slipped this way, I'm going to pivot and shoot this punch right behind it in order to cover my escape and keep the pressure on him. Boxers understood that, right? But now the first time the boxer got on the yard and he threw that straight right, and instead of slipping, ducking, or any other conventional movement, the guy threw up a skull and bones and made the boxer's fist hit his elbow, right? And he did it with deliberate intention. He's basically elbow striking the boxer's fist, breaking his knuckle. The boxer's mind was blown, man. He had no idea what the hell just happened, right? And then I talked in the past about that bear trap. Boom, boom, right? Bam. Hammer fist strike is a powerful strike. And if you do that strike and you step in the direction of that strike, it's like with any other punch. If you step in the direction that you're striking, it adds power to that strike. This wasn't something the boxer was familiar with. The hammer fist, this dude just elbowed my fist, then he hit me with the side of his hand. Boom. Evolution. They evolved their game. Most of the dudes, with the exception of Karate Bob / Karate Bob, these guys were boxers, man. They understood boxing. So, and as such, like Sun Tzu tells you in The Art of War, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the outcome of 100 battles. These dudes knew the enemy. The enemy was boxing. These guys, some of them were intimately familiar with that enemy. And then they knew this. This was their new self. This Jailhouse Rock, right? This evolution of what they already knew. They didn't need to fear the outcome of 100 battles. This is why you had legends like Minister Ali, like China Church, like Mother Dead, like Eric Tweedy, like Cowboy / Powerful, like Old Man Shasha. Like I can go on and on and on, man. Right? This is why you had these dudes became legends. Glassman, Onions, right? Because these dudes stepped their game up. They evolved. They didn't just say that this is Jailhouse Rock, this is all it is, or I do All-Burn Shuffle and I don't need anything else. I do Comstock Shuffle and I don't need anything else. Nobody adopted that mindset because that mindset isn't the mindset of a true 52 practitioner. That mindset is the mindset of the more traditional systems. No offense to anyone, but like that's a karate mindset. Right? That's the Kung Fu mindset, right? My teacher said this. This has been the same for the last 400 years. I'm not going to do anything but that. Even if I get my ass kicked, I'm not going to do anything but that, right? Boom. Yo, man, I believe like Brody had touched on it one time before in an interview. He said, you know, the brothers want to look good, man. So brothers are going to try to keep their faces from getting hit. The brother don't want to get his ass beat. If the last 3 dudes was doing the same thing he doing, they got their ass beat, then he want to learn how to do something different, right? Or add on the way he's got, so that way he don't get hit like they got hit. That's us. It's what we do, man, right? We evolve, right? Boom. In any sport, we don't want to look bad doing that sport, especially in boxing, right? So, or fighting. You know, we're going to step out of the boxing ring. We're going to step into, like I said, on the yard, right? Whether we on the yard or in the street, we don't want to look bad. Right? So we evolve. Now, 52 purists that I've met, right? One brother in particular, I'm not going to put his name out there. This is my dude, man. Love this dude a lot, but he's what he calls a 52 purist. We actually met because he saw that I call my brand 52 VTK, and he had initially had an issue with that name. Eventually, he started training with me, right? Because he saw what it was that I was doing, right? Evolution. 52 purists, the guys who I've met who consider themselves 52 purists, believe that the 52 is the blocks. That is the system. Nothing else, just the blocks. I believe that the system is more than the blocks. I believe it's a mindset. I believe that that mindset is the criminal mindset. Let me explain that. I don't mean that the mindset is let me go out and rob somebody, right? I don't mean that it's the mindset of let me go out and break the law. I mean that it is highly adaptive. Nigel February said it the best in an interview. The only martial artists who are constantly evolving their fight game are criminals, because criminals are constantly using what they practice in real life situations. That's just the facts, man. Right? Nobody else is doing that. Right? I wouldn't give a fuck if he was the best Navy SEAL on the planet. The reality of the situation is, them dudes will shoot you before they fight you. Right? So whatever techniques they got with their hands, this is shit that they mostly practice back at base. This ain't shit that they actually using in the field. Now, some of them may, and I'm sure that a lot of them are really dangerous with their hands, but the reality is that, and I get this from a dude who was a Marine Scout sniper, right? He told me that if he had to touch you with his hands, then he fucked up. He did something wrong, because he's never supposed to engage with his hands. And most Special Force dudes take that position. If they have to actually engage you in hand-to-hand combat, somebody somewhere fucked up. So the only people who are constantly evolving their shit through actual application are criminals. Because criminals are constantly fighting with each other. They are constantly fighting with the law. They are constantly fighting with their intended victims. Criminals always are trying to step their game up, right? Because they always want the edge. They always want the advantage. They have the predatory mindset. And this is what I'm talking about. The thing of evolution, always being willing to step your game up, not getting stuck in a box, right? Not being caught up in a dogma, right? To me, a 52 purist is someone who looks at the system and says, how can I make it better, right? What can I do to step my game up? Fighting has changed since the 60s and the 70s, right? The game has changed. Right? There was no MMA in the 60s and the 70s. There was no UFC, no Pride, no whatever that new thing is they got, right? One championship or whatever. There was none of that. It was just boxing, man. Right? So you fought, you tailored your system to better the boxer. Right? Dudes wasn't even doing karate and stuff like that. That's why they call karate raw, because they didn't think that there was anything else. Kung Fu, unheard of, right? Filipino martial arts, what the hell is that, right? Boom. Everything that involves kicking back in the days, in those times right there, was considered karate, right? That's just what it was. So with that being the case, right, brothers didn't really have to worry about coming across a dude who was a black belt in some system and actually knew what he was doing. Because you didn't have a lot of dudes, that caliber fighter, martial artist, in the prison system. Like I said, the boxer was the big dog on the yard. So you tailored your craft to beat the boxer. Boxing ain't just the big dog on the yard anymore. Boxing is still a dangerous system. But when you got a dude who might, use a Thai boxing move to knock your leg out of socket, right? Hit you with an elbow, right? Because he's using elbows too. Right? He's not using them the same way as the 52 practitioner, but he's using elbows too. He's using his knees and all kind of other stuff you got to do to shoot for your legs and take you to the ground. So now if you just stuck on, I got to tailor like the moves, 52 is the movements, 52 is just the blocks, right? Then you don't know how to defend a double leg takedown. You don't know how to defend a single leg takedown. You don't know what to do when someone shoots a round kick at your knee, right? You don't know what to do when the dude tie clenches you and starts moving you around and throwing knees at your ribs and your lower body and all that stuff. You don't know what to do. Because initially, 52 wasn't built for that, right? But it can be adopted to address that. But in order for it to be adopted, the individual practitioners have to be willing to evolve. It's just that simple. Again, like I said, Nation of Gods and Earth, build and destroy, man. Right? You're going to build the thing up. Anything that isn't growing is atrophying. It's atrophying. And if it's atrophying because it's stagnant, eventually it dies, man. It rots away, it wilts away, and it dies. If 52, and the practitioners of 52, the individuals who consider themselves the masters of 52, get caught up in the fact that 52 is just the blocks, then what will happen is 52 will stagnate, it will atrophy, and it will die. Right? Can't allow that to happen. Right? This is why I salute like Burley what he's doing. Right? See? He keeps it relevant. Right? My sister, 52 VTK. The VT stands for Wing Chun. Because the lineage of Wing Chun I come under, Ride Chain Wing Chun under Sifu Eric Tovar. Right? He trained under Grandmaster Moyat, who trained under Grandmaster Ip Man. Right? Boom. That's my Wing Chun lineage. I got into that because 52 and Wing Chun share a lot of similarities. That led me into getting into Kali. I trained Kali under Lakunguro Khalifa Abdul Khalid. Boom. 52 and Kali share a lot of similarities, and Wing Chun and Kali share a lot of similarities. Right? See, I saw where they were similar, but I also saw what was different, and I saw where I could use what was different to step up my 52. Right? Now, Piper. Awesome system. Awesome. Right? Boom. Very similar to 52. Very similar. And I'm using that to step up my 52 game. Step up the 52 weapons platform. Right? Because, again, and I said this in the past, to think that there are no weapons aspect of 52 is foolish when it came into prominence in the prison system and dudes get stabbed in the prison system every day. Right? So now I want to take that and add to that, build on that. And I'm tapping this brother on the shoulder to assist me with that. Libre is another system that I'm getting into to help enhance and evolve my 52 game. Those brothers over at Libre, Scott Bad, that dude is a monster, right? So what I get from him and what I get from Nigel February, and adding that to what I already have, will step up 52's weapon platform, right? See, this is about evolution, man. This is about taking things to the next level. This is about being prepared for that threat that comes that doesn't involve boxing. This is about being ready for the opponent who knows how to use a knife, who knows how to do a double leg takedown, who knows how to choke you out. All these things, man. You have to be prepared for that. And that is the essence of the 52. That is what the system is about, right? The blocks, absolutely. They are the signature movements that make the 52 the 52. And I agree that without those blocks, there is no 52. But the blocks by themselves are like a body without a soul. If you got the blocks without the right mindset, that ain't the 52 either, man. Right? And I know that people who know what 52 is have seen these young kids who think they know what it is doing this nonsense, right? And calling it 52, right? See, they saw somebody do this who knew the 52 and said, all right, cool, that's something. They had a block with no soul, man. They had no idea what they were doing, how to properly do it, the nuance, right? See, all of these things matter, right? We don't want to become that kid, right? We don't want to become the person who has a body with no soul. And that's what the blocks is without the proper mindset, right? So I'm a 52 purist. But I'm a 52 purist because I stand on the essence of what 52 is. I stand on the soul of the 52. Evolution, progress, build. And that is the true 52 purist, right? So, in closing, is there a thing where it's just the blocks? Now, the blocks don't make the system. The mindset makes the system, right? The blocks are just the body of the system, right? Knowing how to evolve those blocks, knowing how to apply those blocks in ways that they stay relevant, comes from here, right? It doesn't come from here, right? Everybody needs a soul. In 52's soul is the spirit of evolution. Thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. See you on the other side. Hold on, babe.